All right, fourth grade friends. Today you have your math notebook and your voices are off. You have your glue. You have some sort of materials to take notes with, like a pencil, okay? And then you should have your crayons ready too. Color pencils would work if you don't have the color crayon, okay? So, we are going to talk about equivalent fractions today, fourth grade friends. Have you heard that word before? Some of you might have. My friends who have or haven't, you can still answer this question. Think through the word equivalent. What words kind of going through your head? Equal. And equal means that they are the same. Okay? When we're talking about equivalent fractions, we don't actually mean that they are the exact same. We mean they cover the same amount of space. Okay? So we're going to start with taking some notes. Then we're going to do a few practice problems. And then I'll go over what your homework's going to be. Ready to rock? All right. So in your notebooks, the first thing you should have on the top is your date. Okay? And then I'm going to give you this paper to glue down in a little bit. My friends who are distant, you can't see this, can you? Why can you not see this? There we go. It is recording, yes. All right. I will give you this, my friends who are distance learning. You can print this out and get it glued into your notebook, okay? And my friends who are here, I have copies for us in a bit. We are going to start with our date in the corner. And then our title of our page. We want to give it our title, so if we're looking back through our notes, we know, oh yeah, this is when Mrs. Wells taught us about equivalent fractions. So we have EQ. It is my writing. UIV. You don't have to do it in cursive. I just thought it made it a fancy title. ALENT. Equivalent. And then we have fractions. FRACT. ION, and it's plural, so we have an S at the end. Equivalent fractions. Now, for most of us, this is our first time kind of learning about them, so I want you to write down the definition so you remember. Equivalent fraction is a fraction that is the same as, that's where that equal part in the word comes in. It's the same as, oh, my neck just crunched really hard. Oh, all right. As another fraction with a different denominator. So that means the number above or below will be different. The number below that denominator, okay, will be different. You also might want to write down it, what did I just say? Covers the same amount of space. So you have to make sure, because remember when we are comparing when we have fractions, they should be equal, right? Equal parts. We can't really say if they're equivalent. If I draw one that is like this and one like that, are those really equal? No, they're different sizes. Like if I asked you which of these cakes would you rather have, I guess a lot of you would say the bigger one. Okay. You get one. Okay. When we're doing equivalent fractions, we want to make them the same size. Okay. So what we're going to do is, next you're going to get this chart. Okay. And you're going to need to glue it. It will be very tight. If you take a look at mine, it fits like almost straight to the edges of our pages, okay? So it'll be like just about right. Notice on mine, did I glue it way down low? I glue it pretty close to up here. Because we're going to do, if we have room on the bottom, we're going to do some practice problems. But you can always use the next side of your paper if you need more room. Does that make sense? Yeah. Is anybody done taking notes already? All right, Lily, can you help me? And let's see. Claire, can you help me over there? Levi does not need one, and Rose does not need one. Okay? All right. So my friends who are at home, you can pause the video and finish up those notes if you need, okay? All right. We are going to come back in. All right, so 4th grade friends, we have our notebook page all set up. We got our definition, and now we have our examples down here. What we're going to do is we're going to make, remember how I told you, my in-class friends, we were going to make like our own little fraction bars, like my magnets? That's what we're going to do down here. So we have to label and color our fraction bars. So let's start with labeling, because that way we can color over and we don't have to worry about the crayon or whatever resisting. When we are talking about fractions, remember they are parts that are smaller than 1, right? Than a whole. So if you notice this first bar up here, it's whole. So in the middle of it, let's put a number 1. It's not broken up. That's what we are comparing everything against. Notice the size of all of these on our chart. Do they match up? No. The edges do. So we have it, back to that definition, do all of these cover the same amount of space?
Yeah, they're just different.
They're just split up differently, but they all go from the same start to the same end. So this fraction bar, how do you think we would label this? Instead of one big piece, now we have 2, but do we want to write 2 on those? No, Camille? We want to write a half. We split it in half. So in the middle of each of these, I'm going to write 1/2. Can you see that okay, friends? Yeah. I can zoom in a little bit. Now, take a look down below that 1/2. How many parts are there? Right? There's 3. How do we name fractions that are in 3? Do you remember, Elijah? We have 1/3. So we have 1/3 here. We have another 1/3. And over here we have another 1/3. Then what does our next fraction bar go into? Christian? 1/4. We have fourths. Yeah, so we have 1/4. Notice I'm saying another 4th. Because if I say 2/4, would I write this number?
Oh, no, you would write 2.
But I don't want to say 2/4, right? You're right, Nathan. I would have to do that. But I know that this 1 right here is just 1/4. And my final 1/4. What about the next one? What do you see, Adam?
1/5.
We have 1/5. It's split into 5 parts. So each one of these is 1/5. 1/5. Notice they all start and end again at that same spot, but some of them, and we noticed this yesterday too, what's happening as we split it into more pieces? Our pieces get smaller, and what happens to our number? Our number is growing as our pieces shrink. Kind of opposites, aren't they? Okay. What about the next one, Claire? That's split into 6 parts, so we say that is 1/6. You got it. Fractions are all about kind of patterns again. Did you know that most of math is about finding patterns and how things are related? That's all math mostly is finding patterns and how things can be worked together, how they can relate to each other. All right, what about this next one, though? Is this 1/7? No, Monica? It's 1/8. Why do you think we skipped 1/7? It's kind of hard to split into 7 equal parts. We don't use 1/7 very often. Once we learn how to use these kind of basic fractions, we can use those skills then to talk about 1/7. Okay? We've got 2 more to go. What's this next one? How many parts are there in that second to last row? Micah?
I think there's 10.
There is 10. Do you know how we would say that fraction? 1/10. So it's 10, and then that th with a th at the end. 1/10. 1/10. Remember how Rose said, but that kind of sounds like the decimal numbers Mrs. Wells has up on the wall? Rose is right. These tenths are going to help us later when you start talking more about decimal numbers. Okay? So we had to put 1/10 in all of those boxes there. Almost there. All right. Then what about the bottom one? How much are each of those little tiles worth? Amelia?
Oh, I know.
1/12. Each one is 1/12.
Let me stop there.
Good.
Why are we skipping the
Why are we skipping? Remember, we kind of talked about. We'll get you. Odd numbers, we don't use fractions much because it's hard to split something into odd equal parts. Because odd and equal usually don't go together, right? Equal and even are easier. So we use equal parts most of the time for fractions. 1/12, 1/12, and 1/12. Whoa. All right. But now, 4th grade friends, when we're doing fraction tiles, we want to get pictures in our head to make these easier to see right away. Let's start with our green. And we're going to color our whole green, that one, our whole. Color in, just shading in. You want to color the whole box or whole rectangle, but it does not need to be perfect. It should be enough that you can tell that that box is green, though. As we use colors, it's going to help us notice some sort of patterns going on here. So start watching for things that you notice going on in our fraction tiles. We're finally doing fractions. Finally fraction, but it's not Friday. That alliteration would have been too good. Oh, I should have done that last Friday. Oh, man, opportunity missed. There is still this Friday, you're right. All right. Then guess what? We're done with our green. You can put it aside.
in the box.
Huh? Next, let's use Mrs. Wells' favorite color, pink. We're going to color in each half fraction pink. So I want to color in 1/2 first. Once I get 1/2 colored in, I want to color my other half. How many halves does it take to make one whole? 2. We got those 2 parts. The denominator kind of tells you right away how many would I need to fill it. Challenge question. How many halves would I need to make 2 wholes? How many, Micah? 4, because I know 2 makes 1. If I need another whole, I need 2 more. And you can put Mrs. Wells' favorite color away when you're done. Sad day. Sad day.
Say that's a last.
Now, let's use something bright and sunny like our yellow. Let's color our next biggest fraction. What's our next biggest fraction? Christian? 1/3's our next biggest. Notice again, how many thirds does it take to make a whole? It takes 3. However many parts you have is how many it takes to make a whole. What if I only color in 2? Is that a whole?
No.
That would be 2/3. Good. My yellow's more like a dandelion, but that's okay.
Okay, yellow inside the bucket.
And you can toss the yellow to the side. So 4th grade friends, what's our next biggest fraction?
1/4.
1/4. And we are going to color this to go with our sun. Our sky. Orange does go well with yellow, but we want like a sunny sky. Do you notice how many 4ths does it take to fill that whole bar? 4 of them. Oh my gosh. Do you think they did that on purpose? I bet they did. Does that make it a little easier to figure out how many I need to fill something? Yeah, I can just look at the denominator and think, well, it's 4 parts, so I know I'm going to need 4 of them to fill it up. And I know it's tempting when you're coloring to just color the whole big rectangle, but you really want to color it each fraction tile at a time. That helps your brain realize, oh, 4ths means 4 parts. Okay? Our next biggest one then is how much?
1/5.
1/5. We have our 5ths. This time, let's do purple. Purple. Once again, 4th grade friends, what do you notice? How many 5ths does it take? 5. Thomas, it's a little too crazy to think of that. Just kidding. I think that's exactly on purpose. Have you noticed anything about our fraction bars yet? Like the ones that we've colored? They're colorful. What else do you notice?
They all make one whole.
They all make one whole. None of that sounds like a personal problem. Our denominators are getting bigger. What else do you notice? The piece. What's getting smaller?
Oh, sorry. The little square.
The square. The piece itself is getting smaller. It's like it's. Is it getting quite chopped in half each time?
No. You can say that for 1/2.
No, except for 1/2.
It's getting chopped into halves, thirds, fourths, fifths.
You got it. All right, purple crayon away. Next one. Let's do red. Red.
That's my favorite.
Red. What is our next biggest fraction then?
1/6.
1/6. We have our 6 comes next. Color in each 6th. Once again, how many 6ths does it take to make a whole? Oh my goodness, 6 of them.
It's like it just told us.
It's like you guys are paying attention and you can answer questions when you pay attention. And like I'm doing my job and you're doing yours. It's like, what is this? What?
It's like we actually do schoolwork.
My mind is blown, Thomas. All right, so we have our 6. Our next biggest
1/8.
is 1/8. Let's do orange. Orange. That one. Can you infer what my question's gonna be next? What's the next biggest one is 1/8, and how many 8ths make up a whole? 8. We have. Who knew math could be so therapeutic, guys? Do you know what therapeutic means? Like kind of calming. It makes you kind of relaxed. We should have live and learn. Next year I'll do that. I'll take your advice. Next. Well, we're done now. We already got it colored in, almost. Ooh. How, using fractions, how much of our chart do we have filled in?
8. Wait. What? 1/7.
Not 1/7.
8.
There's 9 parts. 7 nines. 7 of the 9 are filled in. 7 of the 9. Let's do gray. Gray for our, what's this fraction again? 1/10.
I color really fast.
As you get to the smaller pieces, I think each one you can color in a little faster then, right?
I've been doing
But then it takes just as much time because there's just as much space to cover, right?
I've been doing this since I was in kindergarten.
All right. Now the next one, you don't want to push really hard because what's going to happen? Well, one, your crayon's going to break. Will you be able to see your number very well? But do you want to push really light either?
No, it's like
Why do you not want to push light with a black crayon? Claire? It would look like gray. So you want a happy medium.
And then I'm going to trace over with pencil again.
Then you might go over your numbers again. Okay.
Yeah, I can really see.
How many 12ths does it take to make one whole?
12.
12 of them.
Is that a surprise?
So if we want an equivalent fraction to one whole, how would we say a fraction number that is equal to one whole? 12 twelfths would work. Can you think of another one that's equal to one whole? Thomas? On our chart. 5/5 would equal one whole. Zach? 6/6 is equal to one whole. I got a challenge for you now, friends. Can you find any fractions that are equivalent to 1/2? Just 1/2. What do you notice? Use your chart. Is there anything that's equal and it covers the exact amount of space as 1/2? Bennett, what do you notice? 5/10. So if I come down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/10. Those lines do match up. 5/10. 2 4s, you think, Monica? Hold on, 2 4s. 1, 2. Those lines do match up. Zach? That's what we're trying to compare to. So no. Brooke? 3 of the 6. 3 6. Lily? 6 12s. Micah? 4 8s. Fourth grade friends, we're going to learn how to write these equivalent fractions next. So underneath your chart, or if you have room on the backside or the next page, you don't need a lot of room. I just use like probably 3 fingers on the bottom or 2 fingers on the bottom. Let's start by writing just 1/2. Cover up those other ones so I can't get sneakers like I know a lot of you do. How can we say 1/2 is equal to, what is 1/2 equal to? 2 4s. Oop. All right. You guys get lucky because I can't write with that one. We want an equal sign. Remember, that means that they are equivalent. They cover the same amount of space. Well, what if I put another equal sign?
That means it's equal to 7.
Could you give me the next biggest one? What would be the next biggest after 2 4s? Nathan?
3 6.
3 6 or 3s? Which one will be the next biggest? If we go from fourths, the next biggest would be 6, because eighths is a little bit underneath. But you're right, we can use the eighths in a bit. Let's start with that 3/6, because 3 goes to 1/2. What else can we do for 1/2? What else is equal? What's the next one? Claire?
4/8.
And then we can use those eighths. 4/8. Because if we look at our eighths fraction,
5/10.
it covers the same amount of space as that 1/2. Christian, what else?
I saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8.
It does. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8. Can we keep that pattern going, do you think?
10. Okay, so it's 5.
Can we do 10 and 5? We can do 5/10 is equal.
6/12.
Does 6/12 work too?
Yeah.
6 of the 12 does match my 1/2 line. What if we wanted to do 7?
Well, we could because isn't you said that like
We
we couldn't go.
Could we use 7 as a numerator?
Yeah, you could.
What would our denominator be?
14.
14. What do you notice? Take a look at the relationship between numerator and denominator for 1/2. What do you notice? What do you notice, Holly? What do you notice? The numerator is exactly half of the denominator. Oh my goodness. Do you think that's where half comes from?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Let's try it with a trickier fraction. Let's try with 1/3. Do you see a fraction that is equivalent to 1/3? For 1/3. What do you see? What do you see, Ryan? 2/6 does go up to that 1/3 spot. 2/6. Is there anything else that's equivalent to 2 or to 1/3? Do you see, Monica? 4 12s. 1, 2, 3, 4 does go up to that. Good. 4 12. 4 12s. Using our tiles, do we see any more?
No.
Can we use tenths? What's 1/3?
Oh, they said
Does it line up exactly?
no.
Then we can't use it. Because remember, equivalent fractions need to cover the same amount of space. So if they don't line up, we can't use it. I want you to try these next two, fourth grade friends. How many fractions can you find using the chart that are equivalent to 1/4 and to 1/5? How many can you find? Pause the video while you do that. Let's check over our work, fourth grade friends. Let me adjust. All right. So using our pictures, what did you find was equivalent to 1/4? What did you find, Thomas? Hold on. 1/4 is 1/4 equivalent to just 1/8. How many eighths? 2/8. Good. Make sure, because this time we're using 2 of the pieces. That's where we get that 2/8 from. Was there anything else that was equivalent? Camille? We can use 3 of the 12s. Good. Was there anything else? No, there wasn't for that one. Notice, could we use anything above it?
No.
Why do you think we couldn't use anything above it?
It's because those pieces are bigger.
Those pieces are bigger, right? They're split less, so they're bigger pieces. All right, what about the 1/5? What did you find was equivalent? Adam? 2/10 does equal 1/5. 2/10. 1/5. Could we use anything else for that one?
No, it was there.
That was it. Good work, fourth grade friends. All right. You might want to take your notebook home to help you today. And then Let's take a look over what your homework's going to be. You're going to get this worksheet. They give you 2 fraction bars. The first thing you need to do right on top is name the fraction for the first fraction bar. So in the front here, what fraction should you write? Bennett? 2/3. 2 of the 3. What would that be equal to then? What do you think you need to do down here? What do you need to do? What do you need to do, Monica?
You have to write what the next one that's equal to.
You have to write what's equal to it. You also can shade in this box to figure out how much covers that exact amount of space. Monica?
Is the line for the equal to, is that what we're supposed to use as the line, or is that just where we're supposed to put it?
This is the fraction line for you. Does that make sense? So for this one, I would write 2/3
Oh, that's all right.
equals, then I would need to shade in so it matches. So this one should be shaded. Should I keep going?
Yeah.
Keep going?
Yeah,
Keep going?
Yeah.
Keep going?
No.
Why do I need to stop?
That's the last one.
That's where it equals.
Oh yeah, I get it.
So then, what is my equivalent fraction? 2/3 equals, Kateri? 4/6. That's the front side. And guess what? The back side is the exact same, but with different pictures. Okay? That's what we have for math homework. See you soon.